what it sounds like is it's another episode of the Creatives Crown Talk Show. Welcome back, everybody. It's your host, Tony P. the Phase God. We are currently here, as you can see, in a brand new location. We're actually here as what is known as Friday's Dopehouse, one of the dopest spots in the VAPA Center. So we're still here at the VAPA Center. We're currently at Friday's Dopehouse. Of course, we're here with Miss Label Production. Shout out Nick. Shout out Evan behind the cameras. Shout out Miss Label Production. And of course, shout out For Artists by Artists platforms to make sure we're showing love to all our creatives, all our artists, anybody that is an entrepreneur in our creative society. This is for you. But what we're more than excited to have here is our next guest of the day. One of the most unique and somebody that we've recently ran into, one of the most unique world building artists that we've seen come up in the city of Charlotte recently. It's because of her we're in the Dopehouse now. Artist, a event planner, a creative vibe, and more than that, I need y'all to make some noise for the one and only Friday Jones. Friday, what's going on? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm really doing well today.
Absolutely, and I'm grateful that you're here. That's the first time we actually used the applause button. So now you're our first guest to get the applause button. So let's go ahead and play it again, because you deserve that 100%. Friday.
An applause for y'all for the show and everything that you're building.
Listen,
you deserve that applause too.
Appreciate
Can
that.
we get one more time?
Only because of you, Friday. Come on now. Only because of you. Friday, how you living? How you been?
I'm doing good. I'm doing great. Doing great. How are you?
I'm good. You know, we've been on the track. You know, we've been doing this for about a few weeks now. So we've been grateful to be able to link up with incredible guests, incredible artists, incredible people. Nick was one of the guys I was like, we gotta have Friday on. And I was already aware, and I was like, that's a perfect person that we need to have, because when we first met, we actually met at it was actually one of the Nick, you might have to help me out with the name. It's actually one of the creatives collaboration that they had at the neighborhood theater.
Yes. Was it the Charlotte Music Community Hang?
Music Community Hang.
Yes.
That's what it was. Absolutely. Shout out the whole hang and everybody that we spoke with. Sarah Collet was one of the people that we spoke with that had a hand in that. But that's where we first met. So we actually met as artists. I believe that was actually after the Confluence Festival, that was the particular theme of that meetup, and we actually got to be broken off in groups between each other, so we actually had some time to really speak. And actually speaking with you was really cool, because out of our group you were so bubbly, so collaborative, off rip, asking questions before we even really got to know, hey, how you doing, what do you do, what kind of art are you into. I think that energy is really what draws people to you, and I think that's why we had to get you on this show, because you just create this world of just acceptance and comfortability that people have. So with all that being said, I didn't do you a service and kind of breaking down who you are and what you do here in the city of Charlotte. So go ahead and just give us who you are and what you personally do here.
Okay. So thank you very much. I remember also meeting you then, and I also remember chopping it up about like ideas.
Yes.
And I think that if I were to tell anybody what my superpower is, it's my imagination. And I've had the support of my family and friends and just lots of people along the way that have helped me believe in my imagination and what that could build. And so because of that, the things that I do now, the things that I think about, are often just things that I'm able to put into motion, the things that I'm able to realize. And so with that said, I think that one of the best ways that I describe myself is as an ace, right? That's a coin I turned. Wait, that's a term I coined. Mm-hmm. That's a coin I termed. Either way.
Remix. No, you got it. I got you.
But that's a term I coined because I got tired of trying to explain all the things that I did, and I wanted to explain a little bit more about how I identify. Absolutely. So an ace is an artist, creative entrepreneur, or like I said, an ace for short. And I often tell people that I'm an ace of all trades and a master of self, because I believe that once you understand yourself, everything else is pretty much the same, right? So it's really about process, learning routines and things like that, but you have to understand who you are. And so the more that I understood about myself, the more I understood about who I was, how I thought, the easier other things became, and the more I saw the patterns.
Absolutely.
Right? And
yes.
So outside of being an ace, the thing that I've just recently realized in terms of a more acceptable term, like an actual term that exists, I am a community developer. So I do that primarily for creatives in commercial spaces. So that explains what Friday's Dopehouse is, but it also explains any of the events or experiences that I help to bring together. So
understood, absolutely. And that's something that you always had a interest in. How did you kind of fall into that line of wanting to do something like that, be a community builder?
So what's funny is that I'm a very introverted person.
Interesting.
I'm extremely introverted.
Gotcha.
And it's so funny because people always think that I'm so outgoing or so bubbly or whatever,
Sure.
right?
Absolutely.
And I'm like, I literally built a house outside so I can invite people in.
Sure. Well, there you go, right? So that's funny. Yeah.
You know, so it's
absolutely.
like, it doesn't mean that I don't enjoy connecting with people. I am neurodivergent. And so intimate, elevated, and immersive experiences are the things that really speak to me. And so I decided to build the spaces that I wanted as an artist. I've had, enough industry experiences where I felt like there's not enough community. There wasn't enough education. There wasn't enough authenticity and transparency. And so when I decided to be on my independent artist journey, I started to build community. I started to build the resources that I felt were missing. And then it just so happened other people wanted those. Absolutely. They needed those. Absolutely. So it was filling a void for myself that independently filled a void for other artists.
Absolutely.
And then they came, and then I was like, this is amazing.
How can we do this more? How can we keep this going?
Exactly.
Absolutely. So where does it actually start for you as Friday Jones, as an artist? Like, where are you originally from, the Carolinas?
So I'm not originally from the Carolinas. I was born in Illinois, but then I grew up in Sumter, South Carolina,
Gotcha.
And then moved to Charlotte. So I did go to high school here.
Where'd you go to high school?
I went to Providence.
Okay, cool. No, okay, cool. I got you.
You know what I'm saying?
Understood. Shout out Providence. Cool.
Southside one time.
There you go, Southside. Let's do it. Let's talk to him. Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
But yeah, so I went to Providence. So I really wanted to go to a high school that had a pool. I thought that was so cool.
For sure.
I also
100%.
thought that the education was really cool,
Absolutely.
looking from outside, coming in. And it was a unique experience.
Sure.
Especially culturally, coming from where I did come from, which I felt like the environment was significantly more diverse. But anyways, I enjoyed it, got through it, and then I went to Carolina for undergrad, and then shortly after moved to New York. And then moved back here right during the pandemic because I was like, no one wants to do the pandemic in New York.
100%, absolutely. Because that was almost basically ground zero when the pandemic hit. So yeah, so were you able to get out of there before it really hit, or
it was insane?
I can imagine that was kind of a crazy time. Yeah. Honestly, I feel like what was a movie with Will Smith in it?
Yes, not iRobot.
Not iRobot.
I Am Legend.
I Am Legend.
Yes.
Almost like I Am Legend. Yeah. I can imagine just running out for your life.
I call it Escape from New York.
Yes.
And then we had to go back and get more of our stuff, and that was Escape from New York Part 2.
Of course.
But yeah, it was insane. But both my husband and I's family are based here in the Carolinas, and so it just made sense for us to be close to family. And I think that that's a big part of me creating environments. Definitely. It has a lot to do with building family in different rooms.
Absolutely.
So
big. When you were going to Carolina, and what were you taking for undergrad?
Sociology and psychology.
Okay, I got you. What were you looking to do with that? Did you have a plan for that? That was just
screenwriting. So
got you, for sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So my primary disciplines, when people ask me, I tell them it's music, visual storytelling, and experience design. This is a space that kind of brings all of those elements together. But when communications didn't really feel like the right track, journalism didn't really feel like the right track, it was like, let me understand people and groups.
Definitely.
And that applies everywhere.
And that makes perfect sense, and it segues perfectly into what you do as being that community builder. You have to understand the community. You have to understand people, their needs, and of course, filling in that void that you were talking about earlier. So after you graduated, were you doing that? Were you creating your what was the plan after graduation, moving up to New York? Because New York is where all the artists is at. So I would think that you're working with artists up there and creating that community. Is that what was going on before the pandemic hit?
No. Well, yes, but also I would say when I left to go to New York, it was I'm focused on my music, creating movies. I want to make music and I want to make movies. Like Absolutely. That's why I moved to New York. And then as I started the journey of developing like producing my first album, right? Like that was a big part of being in New York, being on that journey. You start realizing what it means to do all of those things yourself.
Absolutely.
So the creative part of being an ace is that you're a true artist who develops a ridiculous amount of creative skills in the entrepreneurial pursuit of your passion.
100%.
Right? So I started learning how to design websites. I started learning how to put together an album release. I started learning how to put together a music video, writing treatments, all of these different things. And so what happened was I was doing these things for myself. Then working corporate America.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Like, you're like, okay,
Keeping
cool.
the
Let me
bills paid.
fund the dream.
Yes.
Let me fund the dream.
Yes, absolutely.
And so I was doing those things for myself. And then I developed a physical promotion product, right? And it was called Break Tapes.
Okay.
Started doing that. And once I realized that, started getting into entrepreneurship programs, selling this product. And then it was like, I want to quit my job, focus on music, start building this business. And as I started to do that, the marketing part really started to hit heavy. It's like, okay, I need to build reasons for people to be interested in this product. But I wanted to build from an authentic place. Like, what do you actually need? How can I showcase you? How can we center artists? And so that's how I started to really develop some of those things in the community, was really developing them for myself. And I would say that I'm always a very, very family forward type person.
Absolutely.
So creating a sense of family happens in a lot of the things that I do. I love to create inclusive spaces that are intergenerational. I really believe that community is not just your peers. It's up and down. Absolutely. It's left and right. Like, it's a little bit of everything, just like your family is. You don't get along with everybody in your family. There's some people you super vibe with, but that feeling, I feel like family is your first community or your first experience with community. Definitely. And so a lot of the things I did would replicate that, where there's different ages, different experience levels, and they're kind of in the same room, mixing and mingling. And so that turned into, for a long time, it was really about my pursuit as an independent artist. And the things that I built for myself, I kind of always tried to share with others.
Absolutely.
And that's really what happened. So the product that I built, I wanted a way for people to walk away from my release party and listen to it automatically. So we had these cassette tape MP3 players. Ooh, and those were MP3 players and also USB flash drives. So you could put photos, all of this stuff. This was back in 2015. Gotcha. So, it came with headphones. You walked away, you hear the whole project. It was crazy. Then other artists were like, oh, where did you get this? I'm like, I made these. Like,
really? So you made them? Absolutely.
Right. Well, so I had a manufacturer, started customizing them and stuff like that, 100%. Made it where it was this unique giveaway at the end of the party, right?
Absolutely.
Lots of artists start asking for it. And that's kind of just been, I think, the path. It's like, I'm doing this cool thing that I think is cool for me, and then other people think it's cool and they're interested in it, and then it just kind of grows.
Absolutely, 100%. So when it comes to talking about family, is family also musically inclined, or so 100%. So where are you getting the
my dad plays everything that you see behind us.
Understood.
Some of these things are his.
Understood. So shout out Pops for the instruments.
Pops
yeah,
for
absolutely.
The instruments for sure.
He's the one that's teaching you how to play certain instruments. What's the first are you playing instruments? Are you singing, or more of a writer? What do we
I definitely, so I play the flute and the piano like a little bit, right? Like I could definitely use some more lessons.
Understood.
But I played those like growing up and was in band, marching band and all that kind of stuff. My dad actually is self-taught and he plays by ear. So he hasn't really taught me to play a lot because the way that he learns music and the way I learn music are very different.
Absolutely.
But his mother was a pianist and gospel singer and would take all of them around, like they were doing tours and churches throughout awesome. Like Florida. And then my great grandfather was also a guitarist and just, you know what I mean? So absolutely. Cousins, uncles, like the whole family. I really feel like I come from a very musical family, which is why I never thought that music is what I would be doing. It's just always been a part of me.
Understood.
I thought that I would be a filmmaker.
For sure.
Right? My mom thought I would be an author. And so music is something that I need in order to live.
Understood.
Right? It's like oxygen.
Absolutely.
And so when I think about building a life around it, sometimes that can be frightening because it's something that you need so deeply, and tying that to survival can be complicated.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna make music whether I'm successful or not,
100%.
right? Like that's just how I feel about it.
Absolutely.
And so always kind of learning, absorbing. My dad is I feel like he's the original ace in my life. So I always consider him my greatest influence, especially creatively. He does a lot of different things, engineering and like, you know, just a little bit of everything. And that was something that I definitely take from him. Knowing that you don't have to be bound to, oh, you're only talented in this way or you're only smart in this way. It's like, no, you can build computers and you can build bass lines. Like,
Fire,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Like, you can do all of those things. I think people forget about STEAM when they talk about STEM. And art is science. Like, art is the same stuff that people consider to be respectable careers.
100%.
And so, yeah, I think that was a big part for me, is that my parents never discouraged me from being creative. Of course, they worried about sustainability.
Obviously, yeah, right, absolutely. But at the same time, they gave you the leeway to experience and express yourself. Obviously, in the ways where you felt that you could be heard and seen, and it was able to flourish and grow into where, again, you were saying you're able to produce your own music, learn how to write your own film. I'm assuming you filmed your own yourself as far as like your videos and things of that nature, because of course you have your music videos as well. So as an artist, because again you transition through so many talents, so it sounds like you're starting off as a music artist, start dabbling and going more into filmmaking, and then of course we're in school, we're graduating from school, we're going to New York to follow more into music and film. When you're in New York, before again and after, while we're in New York, we're chasing, is it mainly music, is it mainly filmmaking, is it like
I would say it's mainly music that I'm chasing actively, but in the background I'm writing.
Cool,
right?
I got you.
So, and I would also go back to say that primarily I consider myself to be a vocalist and MC. I mostly rap. I sing a little bit.
Absolutely.
And so the pen is the through line. The storytelling
100%.
is the through line.
Absolutely.
Between music, filmmaking, and experience design. It's a story.
Absolutely. So let's continue the story then. So we're coming down from New York. We've escaped from New York for a second time after the pandemic. We're settling back up in Charlotte. What are the first steps to get back into the actual music scene in Charlotte? Like, what are your first steps looking into it and getting involved when you're getting from Charlotte, when you're getting back from New York?
Actually, it was advocacy.
Okay.
So I positioned myself into the worlds that were helping the local artist, right? So that started with the Arts and Science Council. I was on their advisory council for 2 or 3 years. So I was on the Arts and Science Advisory Council representing South Charlotte at large. And that was kind of, oh, okay, now I'm doing these things, right?
Absolutely.
I started learning about things like Arts Day. I'm on the Fair Play Steering Committee, on the Program Committee for Arts Plus, right? So I started from a space of who is helping artists, who's shaping the scene for arts and culture in Charlotte, and that's where I decided to enter. So a lot of the work that I did when I first got here was really around advocacy for artists and who was providing opportunities for artists. So I started learning about that. I started learning about the grant process. I started learning about all of the organizations, again, that were connected. So that's kind of where it started for me. And then, well, I definitely got into the studio whenever I got here.
Course,
like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I got into the studio, and that was really nice because, again, it started putting me back in the mindset of creating and actually sharing it with people. And then I would say it was arts advocacy. And then that's what helped me learn about what was about to happen. in Charlotte. So, you start seeing, oh, they've got this vision plan, or they've got this plan for the city, or, these are the corridors of opportunities, or these are the things that are about to happen.
Absolutely.
And then I would say that one of the most impactful things, so like I was online. I started doing an online live series whenever we were, locked down.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, me being the introvert I was like, yes.
Yeah, that's what you was looking for.
I
That's
can do
yeah.
Like, yes, what we doing online.
100%,
Like, this is fantastic. And so I was really pushing myself to show up in ways that would still stand out, right? That I was still building. I was showing up for info sessions online with things that were happening in the city, putting my face in front of people who were making decisions. You know what I'm saying? Making sure that, hey, I'm going to be at this committee meeting. I'm going to be at this hearing or whatever that you're talking about when you're talking about the budget. And so those were really unique, I think, in terms of my path to artistry, because it came from advocacy. It came from a place of representing artists. And then I started learning about more of, this exists. And then once I applied to get into the VAPA Center, which was I'm not sure when I applied. It must have been 2022. But I moved into the VAPA in September of 2023. And then after that, the community that I connected with here really changed everything in terms of the landscape of me as an artist.
Absolutely.
Again, I keep saying I'm introverted, but I'm very introverted. So like,
it doesn't seem like it.
I know
you was out here for sure.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But that's strategic, right? It's like I'm showing up because there's a reason for me to be in this room.
Absolutely.
I'm showing up because there's somebody that I'm supposed to meet in this room. And so if my space wasn't in this building, I don't know if I would know half of the people that I know.
Fair.
Right?
Gotcha.
Because it's like, if my space was just this independent space and I just went there, I would only know the people that came there.
Exactly.
And that's kind of what happened here. It just so happened that some of the biggest and brightest artists in the city were coming through this building and connecting. And then I started having conversations with those people, building with those people, doing collaborations with different artists in the city. And then all of a sudden, like I said, the grant part clicked as well. I started understanding how to put these applications together. I started understanding what they were looking for, and I started to align that with what I was interested in building. And so now, all of a sudden, it's like, oh, Friday's over here. Oh, Friday's over here. Oh, Friday's doing this.
Yep.
And now my name has naturally built, like, some sort of association for certain people, right? Like absolutely. In certain pockets, it's like, oh, I know who this person is. And so opportunities started coming, the community started coming. And then, I mean, I'm still here, like, liking to be at home, but things are moving outside without me having to do much.
Absolutely. To speak to that, it actually just popped in my head. The way your name travels is actually very interesting because, in my side, randomly, I actually ran into one of your family members who was working in the bank.
No way.
So somebody I was helping, I was getting my business set up. Artists, make sure you have your LLC situated. Please get that situated. Get your banks, all that bank stuff. Get that together. But while I was doing it, I was putting it all together. I was letting the person I was working with let them know, hey, I'm a music artist. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Are you interested in music? She was asking me about music as well. She like, yeah, I'm in the scene and doing my thing. And she's like, do you happen to know a Friday Jones? I was like, yeah, I know Friday. It's like, that's my sister-in-law. I was just about to say, my sister-in-law.
I had a whole conversation with her today before I had to come here.
Listen, and it is so crazy how not just small the world is, but just how some things are meant to be. To your point, because as soon as we were having that conversation, she was already putting me on game as a creative person. Like, hey, listen, if this is going to be the route that you're taking, you might want to look a little extra into having an account, looking more into making sure that your money, how you're spacing out your money, how you're spending, what you're moving your money as. If you're going to have a business account, giving me the real breakdown as a creative needs, and I'm just like, man, that's so crazy. And then boom, understanding that it's family of Friday. It's like, okay, well, it all makes sense. It all cycles in together. So again, it speaks volumes to what you're saying. And again, creating that community, and not just a community of just people, but a community of experts, a community of people who take what they're doing seriously enough, not just to understand it to do them themselves, but to teach others. And I think that's the biggest thing that you do provide. Oh, excuse me, especially with Friday's Dopehouse.
Right.
And so let's go ahead and kind of move and transition into you getting into the VAPA Center and creating Friday's Dopehouse. So again, we are currently here. This is the spot. It's an amazing spot. We got here a little earlier before you, so we were getting set up. But while we were waiting for you to come through, we were just checking out, and we were just like, this is insane. Honestly, one of the best studios I've seen and been in. And again, I can attest to that because you obviously been awarded for having one of the best. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead, bring it. Yeah. Go ahead, and grab that. Yeah. We need to see that. Oh, come on now. Absolutely. Go ahead. Matter of fact, right here. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. You might have heard about this.
Break it down. Let us know what that is.
This is the 2026 VAPA Awards Studio of the Year, Friday Jones.
Stop playing with Friday. Come on now. One time.
I'd like to thank the Academy.
There we go. We might have to talk about the Academy. Run that again. We have to talk about the Academy shortly too. But again, congratulations. This is a incredible space. This is a legitimate vibe of a studio. You have the lights set up perfectly. You have the entire studio set up. You have I think a couple studios. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to break it down. You can do it a lot better than I can. By all means, kind of give us the rundown of Friday's Dopehouse, what it is, the setup, and just how you got this whole thing built from ground up.
Okay, we'll do that. So, all right, so I'm going to give y'all the run through real quick. Friday's Dopehouse is an immersive music venue. It is also an elevated production house, as well as an intimate third space. So that is what Friday's Dopehouse is. It is what I wanted as an artist, and so I built that. Whenever you come in, it is based... in terms of the immersive part, it is designed like a home. So when you come in, you hit the foyer. That's where our merch and, hang your coats, put your phones away, depending on what the event is. And then we have the family room, which is what you see behind us. So again, this is called the family room because music and family have always been synonymous for me growing up. Over here where y'all, the audience, are hanging out is called the dining room, and we can set that up in different styles, whether it's cabaret style, theater style. Behind that is the attic, which is a quiet meditative space for artists to go and be with their higher selves. And it's got some pull-out desk, some space to work, some sound bowls, some meditation frequency devices. Then we've got the kitchen. That is usually where my mom hangs out because she holds down the snacks and stuff like that whenever we do the experience. My dad is usually over here because he's a part of the band. Of course. Then we have our hallway, which is our gallery space, and that features black and white artwork from artists both inside and outside of the VAPA Center. Then to the left is the basement, and that's our recording studio, and it was inspired by my time in New York. Between Brooklyn and Harlem, I wanted a back room, speakeasy, Harlem Renaissance kind of energy. Absolutely. And then we've got my office space, which is divided between both work and play. So the space itself is most of the area where you're absorbing and receiving, all of that area is white. And then the side where you're performing, producing, creating, all of that side is black. And again, everything is very monochromatic because I think that that's really simple. It also represents black and white thinking as an autistic person. So it's like, I don't really have to make a lot of decisions, and I get to use light to shift the mood in the space. And I also just feel like black, white are super easy to make it feel elevated. And in terms of how it all came together, so the day that I found out that I got into the VAPA Center is the same day that another project I was working on basically ended, right? It was like, nope, this isn't going to happen. So then I got my golden ticket in the mail, like, oh, you've got your golden ticket, you have a space in the VAPA Center. Started out with just one room in the back, and I was like, all I need is a place to close the door, because I was working out a loft before that I had also set up very similar to this space, because I do believe, I tell people, like, I see it before I touch it. Right. And so it's like I visualize it, but then I have to make something happen that represents that, even if it's at the smallest scale of it. So that room looked very much, you could see the inspiration for this space. And then came in here, thought I was just going to have one room. It turned out the person who's going to get the other room was unable to get it. And I was like, let me get that space. Let me get that. Let me hold that real quick. Then I got a grant from the Arts and Science Council that allowed me to allocate funds to get the full space.
Sick.
So what I thought, and I've always wanted to build a multi-purpose, multi-use space.
Definitely.
And what I thought was going to take 6 years took like 6 months.
Whoa, that's heavy.
And a lot of like the paint on the walls, the wallpaper, like all the design, the decorating, and all of that kind of stuff. It's just in here. Painting, designing, like there's a lot of stuff in here that either I made it or, you know, obviously thrifting.
Yes.
There's also some really cool pieces, like being in this community. There's some things where people saw what I was building and they were like, hey, do you want this thing?
That's hard.
And I'm like, yes. I had that on my list and now I don't have to buy that. You know, so we have on the Slack channel something called Free Stuff. Free stuff is popping.
I can imagine. Yeah. Free stuff is always pop.
Free stuff from an incredible community of artists is a different type of free stuff. And crazy. So I have gotten so many things in here. And then, like I said, having the support of my family has been really helpful as well. You know, my parents found this white AstroTurf.
I was gonna say this whole setup, and it's crazy, and it makes sense why, because one of the things you didn't bring up is that everybody got to come in here with no shoes on.
Yes,
you cannot wear shoes, so that's how we know it's really like somebody's house.
Exactly.
Leave them shoes outside the door. So yeah, everybody, of course, we respect it and come in here. So you do have footies available, but you got to respect the space, right? So 100%, you've created a very, very beautiful just a space to not just create, but of course. Find yourself as an artist, and I think a lot of venues don't take that into consideration. Just in general, I don't think any places keep that in mind. But for you to keep that in mind, not just for yourself, but other artists and people that come in here, of course, is incredible. You did say, are you sharing this space with your family as well? Or is it just kind of?
Oh no, this is my space, but they are always helping.
I got you.
So when it's time, I'm gonna be like, "Hey, y'all on the staff,
like,
like y'all are on payroll. Like, let's. I can't wait for that moment. It's like, no, you show up for real now because, like no more volunteering over here.
Absolutely. And so, how has can you speak to like the business of that and being able to start a business like that, maintain that, and then grow it? Because again, you said that you're learning a lot of this on the fly. Again, you went to school for a good amount of this, but again, a lot of this comes from experience. Yeah. How has it been, utilizing the information and actually creating this business on the business side? Because you can come in here and create all day. You have the studio space, you have the space for it, but now once it's created, how do we continue to make this happen revenue-wise or just in general business-wise?
So one of the things, and this is a part that I'm really narrowing down in now, and I think that this is one of the hardest things for artists to accept, is that you have to prioritize your focus. It doesn't mean that you can't do everything, but you have to do one thing first. And that is... It's hard. It's hard to admit it. It's hard to acknowledge it. And it's hard to realize when you're not focused on your main thing. And so recently, FDH has become the main thing. Gotcha. And so what I'm doing now is really putting together, here's the booking guide. This is how you work this. Like, this is how you book this space. This is what you can book it for. Building out different systems and processes. So that way, whenever people want to come into this space, I already know the answers. I already know what the profit margins are. I already know where the rate has to be in order for people to activate the space. I'm developing a membership program, which is going to launch in June. And that is going to be a very limited experience in terms of the number of people who will have access to it. But what I want to create is an opportunity for emerging artists and established artists to be able to have a space where I know at least once a month I can come in, I can do a rehearsal. I know that I can, receive a member rate for booking studio time. If I need to put together an event, in a space, I need to have a listening party. Now all of those things are included on top of the educational part, right? So it's like, okay, brand experience, and brand experience is something that I educate artists about, and that's like another aspect of what I do. And so it's like, hey, I can help you understand and figure out your why. I can help you position that, right? I can help you understand what type of experiences you should be creating as an artist and not trying to follow what's popular.
Absolutely.
And so from the business aspect, the thing that I had to understand is that maybe I don't get to create as much as I want to whenever I come into this space. Like when I'm here, I'm showing up as a CEO. I'm showing up as a founder. You know, I'm not showing up as the artist, and that's hard.
So is that a difficult change in mind state?
Absolutely.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Absolutely. Because I have to, what I'm telling myself though is first, not only, but get this together first. And once this is together, it creates the stability for you to be creative, for you to start to invest in other things. And so what I've told myself is the things that I would love to pour into right now will continue to just be monetized hobbies until my actual business is super stable,
100%.
right? So there's maybe other little FDHs popping up in places, you know? And so there's a bigger vision for that, and I think that the recent realization of being a community developer is what solidified, this has to be the thing.
Absolutely.
Because this is going to pave the way for where I see everything else going. And it doesn't mean that my music won't either, but again, my music is for me more than anything else. And a big part of being independent is that I didn't want to have to compromise my music
100%.
or myself. And so what I decided is that there's a lot of ways that you can get money. Like you don't have to necessarily get money through your art. Like you can get money in a lot of ways.
Absolutely.
And you can make art. You know what I mean? They don't always have to be the exact same. And I think sometimes we put a lot of undue pressure on ourselves to make our art make money. And then you start realizing if someone came in here and they were like, matter of fact, I'm going to tell you a little secret. Okay, so here's what happened, right? So recently, FDH had an incredible opportunity to host Flowetry for their rehearsal. Ooh. So before they went on their reunion tour recently, they were here for the whole week rehearsing in FDH. It was crazy.
That's insane.
It was crazy. We emptied out the whole space because they brought in
what they needed.
Big boy stuff, right? It was insane.
That's crazy.
And one of the negotiations when we were talking about it, right? And I was like, well, look, like, you know, I don't really let people wear their shoes in here.
That's kind of,
you know, but this is like 12 different people kind of in and out all day, right? Like it's a different type of experience than what this was initially built for, right?
Absolutely.
And I was like, you know what? Whenever I used to do Re-Up, which is our open artist jam, when we did that during Open Studios, for the same reason, because it was so much foot traffic, I was like, you don't have to worry about taking off your shoes, right?
Got you.
And so when this opportunity came up and they were like, how strict is this, right? Like we can try to have them abide by it, but it could be a little tricky. I was like, you know what? Don't worry about it.
Don't trip. Absolutely.
I was like, y'all walk wherever you need to walk to. I was like, whenever they were finished, I cleaned everything. Absolutely. I sanitized everything. And then we got back to like the base level. Is that the type of compromise that I might have been as easy to accept if it was something around my music? Maybe not.
Absolutely.
You know, and so I realized that this is about the community that it's for.
Yes.
My music is about me.
Absolutely.
And so in those two different ways, it kind of helped me to realize that I can focus on this in a way that makes it more acceptable for people. And it allows me to focus on my music in a way that makes it less acceptable for everybody. I can focus on, I want it to be exactly like this. But because I'm over here compromising in these ways, I have the stability to invest into my art the way that I really want to.
100%. Absolutely. So, I mean, again, with that being said, do you feel as of right now that Friday's Dopehouse is stable? Are we still building up the stability? Because I mean, having Flowetry in here seems to be like the telltale that hey, we're pretty good here at Friday's Dopehouse. I mean, you had it, I believe you said since 2023.
Yes, since 2023.
You've been here for going on almost 4 years. You're having big name people in here utilizing space. So your name is ringing bells throughout the city. So are we reaching that stability in your personal
reaching
opinion? Or have you
like
reached it?
reaching, yes, we are reaching.
For sure.
We are actively reaching.
For sure.
But what I will say is that it took a while for the mindset shift on what this space was.
Okay, gotcha.
I attended a workshop that Sherry hosted from Pauline's Tea Bar in Apothecary. And it was about inclusive spaces, building inclusive spaces and sacred spaces. And I thought one of the things that she mentioned that was really nice was you kind of have to listen to the space. Mm-hmm. And that's what's happening right now.
Absolutely.
Is I'm realizing what people want from FDH. Like, I have put my intentions into this space, and now, because it's a business, I have to listen to what people want from it.
Gotcha.
I didn't think that this was a space that could do podcasts. I was like, who do want to do a podcast in here? I don't have the podcast stuff and this, da-da-da-da. And then here we are doing a podcast in the space.
It's a talk show.
Right. It's a talk show.
It's a talk show.
We are talking.
We are talking to our creative, to our aces.
To our aces.
The biggest ace as we speak. But no, but you're 100%. But again, you giving this to your credit.
But I wouldn't have thought that either.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like
Absolutely.
a 2-mic setup with this as a backdrop was not what I envisioned
Absolutely.
for this space. But then when Nick's like, hey, what about we do this here? And I'm like, okay, if y'all want to. You know what I mean? But like, I couldn't see what he saw.
Absolutely.
And so there are things that people are going to see in your business. And it doesn't mean that you're always compromising to what people want, but you have to listen.
Absolutely.
And so I'm in the state where I've listened to a lot of what people want. And that's where building out the membership program is
Absolutely.
coming together.
Gotcha.
That's where making sure that the rates are accessible for emerging artists, but still, being competitive in terms of a business. So the stability, 2026, the stability is
that's the move for 2026.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
It really is there. But I think one of the hardest things has been I want to offer community, and I don't want to have to not offer it to people.
Understood.
Right?
Definitely.
Building barriers and boundaries around who has access to the space is a hard part when, like I said, coming from a space of artist advocacy.
Absolutely.
Coming from a space of a lot of artists don't have access to the resources that they need, and this is one of them. And so one of the other transitions that I'm looking forward to with FTH is the nonprofit status, right? So like that's another thing that's going to happen in 2026. And that mindset shift is really helping to inform the framework that I'm developing now. So it's like that membership program ideally will become something that's super accessible for emerging artists, but then there are other ways that those things are offset, right?
Absolutely.
So, but making it attractive for the types of artists in the city that are looking for a really intimate and elevated rehearsal space is also, those are two different audiences. So understanding the needs of both of them is where I'm really starting to hone in and focus now.
Absolutely. I got you. And along with that, of course, you're currently working on music now, along with keeping Friday's Dopehouse dope.
Yes.
You are currently actively working on music.
I am. So I got 2 EPs. I've got like 2 EPs that I have that are coming out. And then I have 1 album. And then I think that's like everything else after that.
For sure.
Sync licensing is what I'm most interested in when it comes to music.
And I know that's a big conversation, especially is for artists to start receiving on a consistent pay is sync licensing. So that's songs for film, video, things of that nature. I got you. Understood. Have you dabbled in that already, or is that just what you're going to look more into?
I've started doing I've been more in the research phase, so I've been attending workshops. I've been attending like information learning about how to write for sync, like where it comes in, getting certain things cleared, making sure that you've got ownership of the music and stuff like that. And one of my goals is to enroll in, I love programs. I think that's another reason people don't realize that, like, you have to understand how you learn and how you find opportunities.
Yes.
For me, I love structured programs. Like,
yes.
You walk me through the process from A to B, and then I get to walk away and figure it out on my own.
Absolutely.
that's kind of the type of person that I am.
Got you.
And so that's also why, like, you'll find me in fellowships and residencies and, like, doing these programs. Absolutely. Because I'm like, okay, great. It's this week 1, we do this. Week 2, we do this. One of the things that I most recently did was developing a program for women and femme music artists to learn audio engineering in collaboration with Backspins Academy and Colorful Noise. And that came from a professional development grant that I received from the city of Charlotte. And the reason that initially the grant was really for me to be able to take this, right? Sure. And I was like, how can I make this so that there are other people involved and that it feels like a program dynamic? Mm-hmm. Because I understand how I learn. Absolutely. I enjoy external accountability and I enjoy a structured program. Heavy. I know that I needed that. Absolutely. I could have just went and did one-on-one lessons and like done that, right? That was not going to be the same as having the accountability of other people, teaching other people things that I understood, asking other people questions whenever they understood more than I did. And so, where was we talking? We was talking about programs, structure, in the mix, sync licensing. That part. So yes. So that's my next move when it comes to that. Absolutely. Let me get a program. 100%. Absolutely. So Friday, you are completely locked in on different aspects within the city of Charlotte. So I want to go ahead and kind of just change up what we do and ask you this question or step into this next part of the show, what we call Heavy is the Crown. Okay. And so what we want to do is we want to know is how heavy is the crown for you in aspects of what are some of the things that you are dealing with as an ace, as an artist, as a creative, as an entrepreneur on a regular basis that nobody else might not see, but you want them to know about? Mindset, identity. Identity is the biggest thing that I've been dealing with. So I have a small group of people that we're like a casual mastermind group, right? Ooh. And one of the things that I've been talking about probably for the past few months is identity. Understanding who you are is critical for everything, right? And we have so many roles in who you are. So there's so many aspects that you're trying to hold all at once, right? It's like, oh, did I do my self-care stuff? Did I do my as a daughter stuff? Did I do my as a wife stuff? Did I do my artist stuff? Did I do my entrepreneur stuff? Did I do my showing up as a homie stuff? Right? And then there's did I do my innovator stuff? Did I do my pushing the boundaries of art and creativity stuff? And then you start to get muddled in who you are by all these things that you want to do. Absolutely. And so understanding identity is the thing that's hard, right? So it's been hard for me showing up as the community developer because I've been identifying as the artist. Absolutely. Right? And so those shifts in how you are perceiving what's happening right now and perceiving who you are or that role really changes how you perceive what's happening, how long it's happening, because everything is temporary, right? I'm not going to be the artist. Well, I'll probably be an artist forever. But, that's not going to be my primary role, right? There's going to be a phase where maybe I'm the mentor. Maybe I'm just the sage and I've already done it all. And now I'm just passing on this information. And so understanding identity, understanding my own identity is, I think, the hardest part, right? It's like, oh, am I a community leader in Charlotte? I don't think about myself in that way. But, understanding that that's part of the identity that I'm building. I'm just showing up and doing the things that I hope people do for me or do for other people. Absolutely. And so identity, mindset, those are the two things that are swirling around in my head. The things that I'm building is infrastructure in who I am. And I think that knowing that, okay, maybe I'm not showing up outside all the time. How does that align with who I am building? And that's the hard part that I think is behind the scenes of anybody that's building something, that's doing something unique, is how many different things that they are carrying and how that's informing who they are. You know, because like one of the things, have you ever read the book Atomic Habits?
Say that one more time.
Atomic Habits.
Atomic Habits. That sounds familiar. I'm gonna say no, so I'm not a liar. But
I think I forget the name. It could be James Clear. I don't know. But point is, one of the things they talk about is basically your habits are what make you who you are, gotcha. Right? Yep. And like, if you wanted to say you smoke, say you're a cigarette smoker, we'll use cigarette smokers because we can always talk bad smoking. About them.
Yeah, we can definitely always talk bad about cigarette smokers for sure. Let's get started.
You know
let's go ahead and do that.
So like, let's say that you're a cigarette smoker, right? And you want to stop being a cigarette smoker. Gotcha. What you do is not say like, oh, I'm going to stop smoking cigarettes. What you do is you start to identify who is the person that doesn't smoke cigarettes and what are their behaviors. How do they behave every day? Absolutely. Right? And then you start to align yourself with those behaviors. And so part of the identity work is really learning who it is that you're interested in becoming and then just being them.
Absolutely.
Like, oh, what decision? Okay, if I want to be healthy, okay, cool. What does a healthy person do today? What does a rich person do today? What does a wealthy person do today? You know, if you wanted to look max, let's say, like what does an attractive person do today? Yep. And so the part that I'm focused on now is what does a blank do today? Because I'm really trying to figure out what is that blank part. Yep. And then once you understand that, it's easier to start to build out, okay, what does my day look like? Like, who am I talking to? What rooms am I in? And so one of the things that recently happened for me is because of FDH, because of realizing being a community developer, I had this realization the other day. I was like, I think I want to be a real estate developer. I didn't even know that. And that sounds nasty.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pivot
artist,
for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, as an artist, I'm like, oh, I want to be a real estate developer? Like, that's nasty work. And so I was like, wait a second. FDH is a space that I've developed for community. It's a commercial space. I would like to do this more. So it sounds like I want to be a real estate developer. It's just a particular type of real estate. I'm interested in it. Absolutely. And so then I was like, okay, well, what are these people doing? I went to an event called Real Estate and Roast that's hosted by Chris Dennis because of Michaela, who introduced me to this event.
Sure, shout out Michaela.
Yes, and Michaela, I forget her last name. No, different one. Ooh. And that's why I was like, oh, I know that there's two. And that's why I wasn't
aware. Okay, well, still shout out Michaela Bender, but the other Michaela as well, once we know her last name. But
Yes, Michaela, we don't know her last name, but I think it's Mickey the Body. Anyways. I got you. So, anyways, I went to this event and I'd been saying, I was like, you know what? I need to be in a room with people who can spend $30 million and it's not a big deal. Absolutely. Like that they're like, oh, I want to build this, blah, 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 because I started understanding where I wanted to grow. And then I keep showing up in the ways that I would show up, right? My future self. I went to this business development networking event, connected with that Michaela there. Mm-hmm. She told me about this event. I had to be at 7 a.m. in the morning on a Friday.
I mean, they don't call you Friday for nothing. So
exactly. I was like, we giving the whole day in there.
There we go.
But what was crazy was that I was like, when I feel like I'm supposed to be in a room, the one thing that I do is I show up.
Absolutely.
Like when I get that feeling, it's a weird feeling. I think that feeling is God, intuition. Like when I have that feeling, I'm like, oh, I got to show up. And so I go and I show up. And it was the perfect room for me to be in. Yeah. It was the people who are making those types of decisions and that are giving information and access freely to our community. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is what this future me is showing up in these ways. So that identity work, understanding who it is that you're interested in becoming, and then slowly making micro shifts in your behavior to be that person is the hard part. Absolutely. You know, it's, oh, I might have to change the people that I'm hanging around. That's the hard part. Yes. It's, oh, I might have to change the types of conversations I'm having. I might have to change my thoughts. I might have to change my actions, right? Like, that's the hard part. Definitely. But to me right now, the hardest part has been getting clear on the vision of who I'm becoming. Because once you know you can at least ask yourself, what would that person do?
Absolutely.
So that's the part where the crown gets heavy, is, you know, understanding who's wearing it.
That's I could see that being heavy. I can see that being one of the heaviest things that you can deal with, and finding that, and of course being open for that to possibly change as well, and then of course grow from that. So no, Friday, that's insane. Definitely can see that being heavy for you. Well, with that being said, let's go ahead and pivot just a little bit more. With you being in this space, I'm sure you've seen artists come, go. You work with different artists from different levels. Who would you be? Who would be some artists, creative, some other aces that you can see passing the crown down to?
Passing the crown
absolutely.
down
Like who are some other people that you kind of come into contact that we need to be more familiar of and kind of get more familiar with what they're doing from your perspective?
In my perspective,
Yes.
I definitely think Ajane is the first one that popped in my mind. I think her last name is Williams, but she has UFO House Tea, and she is a visual artist. She is a curator. She is a sound artist. So she is building really cool, rich, different types of worlds.
Absolutely.
Rachel is another person who I've recently connected with, and I would like to know her last name. And in my mind, I can't think of her last name. But she is developing what she's calling an intermedia hub.
Okay.
And that is an incredible space where it's going to bring all of these different worlds together.
Absolutely.
Passing the crown down is funny because I could also pass it across, right? And
absolutely,
so
yes, that part.
if there are people that I'm thinking about in that regard, Tia Keneal is a person that comes to mind, right? So she's building a very rich world of healing, visual arts, and also I believe storytelling is a big part of like what's being interwoven in her practice. Who else? Like all kinds of people are doing stuff in this city. And I wish I was showing up more, you know, like to see what's happening. But then I also feel like that's part of it. Part of knowing who you're becoming is understanding that there's only a finite amount of time that you have.
Absolutely.
And that's the hardest part. So let me think. Who else like crazy good stuff all the time? There's so many people doing crazy good stuff. Look, passing it up, it would absolutely be a Bunny Gregory. Like,
shout out
you know
Bunny.
what I'm saying?
100%.
Like,
just had her on. So yeah, shout out Bunny.
Like
absolutely.
the people there's so many people that I would love to build with, and she's absolutely one of them.
I'll have to. For sure.
Yeah, like
Definitely.
it's crazy. You have Black as the Cosmos, who's
Shout out
another
Black
person that I
Cosmos,
think
yes.
would be a pass across.
Absolutely.
Who is building incredible worlds through music and through sound. And yeah, like there's so many people. I have a whole conglomerate of people that could probably be like the next best everything.
Absolutely.
But yeah, like there's a lot of people I think who are interested in deeply building worlds, and that's something for me that's always been intriguing is transformation.
Absolutely.
So
yes, absolutely.
You step into this space, you forget what was outside, and that's what I love whenever I'm seeing other people building these beautiful spaces and, you know, creating these unique experiences. So everybody that's doing that. And then there's so many people that I don't know, but like you see them,
Absolutely.
you know, like that you don't know
Yeah.
deeply, but it's like, oh, you see them pop up. So like
Absolutely.
Perrine with like the Meant to Be and
Yes,
like what's
yes.
happening with all of this is crazy. It's so beautiful. I love to see that. Oh, Dev, which is not a pass down. That would be a pass across as well. But Dev with Afrospace,
I got you. Okay.
she's doing incredible things in like the architecture world building space as well.
awesome.
So yeah, like mad people.
It sounds like a bunch of people. And again, I know that was a quick thing to ask of you, with you knowing so many people. But again, we want to make sure that we do tap in with those creators and make sure that we, you know, give them the eyes that they deserve along with you, especially if you're the one recommending that we give them the crown, because I mean, they can only be doing top-notch work if they're
Facts.
coming from you, just like your name ring bells, theirs would as well. So Friday, as we begin to kind of start wrapping up again, we appreciate you for your time, everything that you do, not just for yourself as an artist, but for opening up your space and your home to other artists like myself, and for us to be here again. We're very, very grateful for you. Give us your last minute thoughts. Anything that you want to let us know, anything that's in your heart and soul. The floor is yours. We want to just make sure that we hear from you.
Yeah, do what's in your heart, and take the time to listen. Like, take the time to be alone. I know that it can feel hard. It can feel like you have to be at this place, or you have to show up at this event, or you have to have this be seen. Or you need to be posting all the time. But take the time to be alone, because a lot of the real answers are coming during solitude. A lot of the real answers are coming when you are going for a walk by yourself, when you're sitting in the park. And there's something that is cosmically different when you're creating from a space that is aligning with your soul. And again, like I was saying, the hardest part about the identity work is getting the clarity on who you want to become. And so find that time to do that inner work, and also make that part of your practice, and be comfortable with shifting when it's not in alignment. Because when it is in alignment, everything's going to come together just exactly how it's supposed to, And so that's what I would say. That would be the thing that's on my mind, is that.
That's beautiful. No, Friday, that's 100% beautiful. We definitely appreciate that. And again, before we get out of here, Friday, let us know where we can find you at, and what you have coming up that we can support. Anything else that we need to know about you, the floor is yours, please.
Okay. You can find me at Friday's Dope. It's fridaysdope.com, friday@fridaysdope.com if you need to email me. Everything online, again, is at Friday's Dope. Now, every last Saturday of the month, we do Re-Up, which stands for Renewing Energy and Uplifting People. That is our free and always will be open artist jam that we do here at FDH, where we invite people to come get on the mic. You can get on an instrument. You can bring an instrument if you want to, although we do have the instruments. But if you have an instrument that we don't have, come, feel free to bring that. And it's really just a space for artists to hone their crafts, to experiment. We really literally just vibe. So
Absolutely.
we have some band members that are here that can create the vibe. But if you play one of these instruments and you want to hop on there, you can. Our next one is May 30th. We have our featured artists. We start with the featured artist. They do a 15-minute set. And Tamisha is going to be our artist for May. And then we just jam and we have a really good time and we uplift your spirits. So re-up, again, come re-up at Friday's Dopehouse. Get your soul pack every last Saturday of the month. And yeah, that's pretty much it,
Understood.
Keep an eye out for dope vibes on the way.
100%. Well, with that being said, Friday, again, thank you so much for just allowing us to be here, giving us some of your time. Again, congratulations on the VAPA Award. Congratulations on this amazing space. We'll definitely have to get you in here again, just talk more about everything that you have going on. But again, in the meantime, in between time, this has been another episode of The Creative Crown. Shout out to Miss Label Production. Again, shout out Evan, shout out Nick. My name has been Tony P. the Phase God. I've been your host. Make sure you tap in with us at 4 Artists by Artists, and we are doing a weekly open mic session at Common Market in South End, Charlotte, every Thursday. So if you're an artist, performer, magician, whatever you want to do, make sure you come tap in with us every Thursday at Common Market on South End. And of course, make sure you tap in with us June 13th for Wish You Were Here 3, brought to you by Miss Label Production. Bunch of dope acts, bunch of dope artists, and of course, they will be previewing a brand new documentary edited and filmed by the one and only Nick Will. Again, we love you guys. We appreciate you guys. Until next time, see y'all later. Peace.
Hey.